Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Competitive Battlin. So today we're taking a look at what you get when you combine a scorpion with a vampire and then give it wings and claws. I guess scorpions already have claws though, so never mind. Yeah, you get this monster. So Gliscor. Let's take a look at what Gliscor can do. So, we're going to be doing 3 sets today, and they're all fairly similar, but they all have their unique niche role they play. So, let's go ahead and take a further look into that. So, the first set we're going to be doing today is going to be classic subtoxic Gliscor, and we're going to talk about that. So, let's go ahead and get into this. First off, let's go ahead and do the item. We are going to give him... I'm sorry, that's not Poison Orb, it's Toxic Orb. There we go. And Toxic Orb. It poisons yourself. So... badly poisons yourself at that. So you're asking me, why do we want to poison our own Pokemon? I'll tell you why. Unless you already know, of course. Poison Heal is Gliscor's, it's his best ability, basically. It heals you for an eighth of your HP just for being poisoned. And, you know, you don't take any HP damage, so you heal from poison. It's pretty great. On top of getting all that HP back, you gotta keep in mind you also already have a status condition, so you can't get another one. So you're immune to statuses as well. So that's another great thing about that. So, as you can guess, Poison Heal Gliscor is all the rage nowadays, so jump on the bandwagon and join in. And his other abilities, Hypercutter wasn't bad back when we had Flying Gem for Acrobatics Gliscor, but we don't have Flying Gem anymore, so you can kind of forget about that. And Sand Veil, it's not bad, I guess, if you were going for a Sand Team Gliscor, but even on a Sand Team, I'd still say Poison Heal, so yeah. As far as his abilities go, this gen at least, Poison Heal. Hypercutter used to be used with Flying Gem, but we lost Flying Gem, so no more Hypercutter. So, let's get on to these EVs and nature. So, on this, as far as the nature, you're gonna want to go Impish, basically. That's basically what you want. And for the EVs, here's where it gets a little complicated. Oh boy, does it get complicated. So HP, normally you'd say I want to max it, but what happens is, since Poison Heal gives you an eighth, or it gives you an eighth of your HP, what happens is making your HP divisible by 8 becomes a thing. So that would be 244 would be the perfect number there. And that would just make sure that you're getting the most out of your Poison Heal. Versus if you just maxed your HP, since your HP is not divisible by 8, you wouldn't be getting as much back, comparatively. So that becomes a relevant thing, 244 HP. And I mean, maxing your HP, I suppose you can still do if you really want to, because then you have an overall larger amount. But I honestly don't recommend it, because you're not gaining back as much. So 244 is the magic number right there. And as far as the rest of the EVs goes, here's where you gotta decide how much speed is important to you. You can max his speed and throw their extra in defense. And by maxing his speed, you're gonna outspeed everything. Up to like Mamoswine. Yeah, I think you're gonna outspeed Jolly Mamoswine at this point. So that's always great, because Mamoswine's annoying. But, you know, he does still have Ice Shard some of the time, so you also gotta keep in mind of that. But you don't have to go crazy into speed if you don't want to. And there's a whole lot of different numbers you can go with, like 200 lets you outspeed some notable threats. And actually, you don't even have to max it. If you go like 236, I believe it was. Yeah, 236. At that point, you'll still outspeed Mamoswine. And then, like I said, 200 get you some notable threats outsped. And let's see. There's some other options. Let's see. It was sorry, I've got my little notepad open to the side. It was 72. And 72 lets you outspeed, what was it? It was some notable threats, I know that, but it was, oh, it was Jolly Tyranitar. That's what it was. It lets you outspeed Jolly Tyranitar. It's what that does. Or, you always got the option to say, screw speed altogether, defense, and throw you extra in special defense, and just tank. So I mean, it's whatever. Doing this makes it a little simpler as far as setting up the EVs, but you also gotta keep in mind that those speed EVs, they're there for outspeeding specific threats, and that's really it. So unless you're concerned about those specific threats, I'd say this is the more general build. But, you know, outspeeding those specific threats can definitely be handy. So, now that we've got that taken care of, moveset time. First off, Earthquake, because you're a physical attacker, as you can tell by that ever so slightly, or no wait, his defense, or special attack sucks, so special attack all the way, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I said ever so slightly. It's a whole lot better. So, Earthquake, physical attack. There you go. Stab, because you're a ground flying type. Don't ask me why. I always thought of Gliscor as a poison type, but he's not. So, keep that in mind. I guess the fact that, you know, he's got all the poison-based stuff confuses me. But, you know, Gliscor. Ground flying. Keep that in mind. So, as far as this moveset goes, of course you'll want Earthquake. And since this is the Subtoxic set, you're going to want Substitute, and you're going to want Toxic. Simple. Substitute, it makes you even tankier than you already were. You just hide behind that, you know, Toxic 'em, Earthquake 'em, get health back for days. And as far as the last move goes, Protect, because you can stall out an extra turn that not only are they taking toxic damage if you toxic them, but you're also getting health back as well. And an eighth of your health is no joke. That's a lot of health. So, yeah. Stall. Stall some more. Stall some more. And deal some damage. And then, you know, residual damage. This he's a pretty monster tank, especially if you go with this build. Keep in mind the speed's great for outspeeding specific threats, and if you do go with the speed, I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but whatever you go with the speed, throw all your extra leftovers in defense. And go with this moveset, and you're good to go. And he doesn't have a whole lot of options, because this is a specific role Subtoxic is, but we'll take a look at some of his other options in the next set. So that does it for Subtoxic Gliscor. Let's go into a more general defensive Gliscor, more general build. So of course, first off, Poison Heal, Toxic Orb, it's all the rage. Like, if you want to fit in with the cool kids, this is how you run your Gliscor. So, you know, that's a thing. So anyways, on to the EVs and the IVs. Here on the more general build, you actually have a couple choices, I'd say. As far as the nature goes, of course you can always go with Impish again, but you also, I'd say, have the option of, if you really want to, go with Careful and turn him into a special. And what that's going to look like is you're going to want the 244 magic number, and then of course you're going to want to consider what speed investment you want. So you got the option of, all you really need is 236 for Mamoswine, 200 for several notable threats there, or the 72 for Tyranitar, the Jolly version, and throw your rest of it into, since this is Careful, Special Defense. And honestly, on this more general Gliscor build, I honestly recommend the speed investment of at least the 72, just kind of to, you know, get those notable threats, you know. If not, I mean, you know, go for the 200 at least. It gives you the several notable threats. And if not, you know, Mamoswine's always an option at 236. But, you know, of course, you don't have to worry about those notable threats if you don't want to. Be just even more general build. So, give me 1 second, I gotta place and it's about to die. Alright, we're good to go. And, you can just forget speed if you really want to, and since this is special, go all special and extra in defense. Or, of course, if you want to go with Impish, max that defense and throw your extras in special. It's whatever. So, now that we got those taken care of, those EVs, let's get on to the moveset. And this moveset, it's fairly similar, but you know, he's got several more options that we need to cover here. So of course, Earthquake's kind of a staple. Doesn't have to be a staple, but it's kind of a staple. If you're not running Earthquake, you don't have to. It's an option. If you're not running Earthquake, go with Knockoff in that slot, because Knockoff's a beautiful move that, if you don't know what it does, 65 base power, not bad, but it multiplies by 1.5 if they're holding an item. So competitive play, people should always have items. So, you know, you're always going to be getting that boost. And it also removes their item. So that's also a great, like, just a great effect right there. So, a run Knockoff if you don't run Earthquake. But Earthquake's great. So, there's that. As far as the other move slot, next choice. It's a bit more general, so we're not going sub-toxic crazy or anything like that. So we're gonna need something to keep us alive a bit. So we want Roost, and Roost on top of the HP we're already getting back. You're gonna be healthy. You're gonna have tons of HP. And it also does remove your flying type. So keep in mind, if they use an ice move on you, it's only gonna be ×2 damage versus the ×4 damage, which, keep in mind, Gliscor's biggest enemy is an ice type move. So that's, yeah, he doesn't like those, considering he's 4 times weak to them. So he doesn't like those. So Roost will help a bit on that. On the off chance they use a ground move on you, you will take the damage instead of avoiding it. But I don't see people using ground moves on a Gliscor. Just to be honest, I don't see the point. So, next move. Here's where I'm gonna mention a bit of a niche moveset on this, and this would fill the role of you would put Fling on him, and Fling, what it would do is it would poison the opponent from the Toxic Orb, is what it's mainly there for. Its power varies depending on the item you have, but what this does, it'll automatically give them a toxic poison because your item is a Toxic Orb, and Fling it takes the effect and just gives them a toxic. So you're wondering why this is better than just running plain old toxic, and that would be because acrobatics is still an option even though Flying Gem no longer is available, because you can fling that Toxic Orb at them, poison them, and then you have no item, and then acrobatics will be doing damage. So it doubles its power if you don't have an item, so that brings it up to a 110 base power flying move. That's pretty strong, so yeah, that's an option. However, if you're not running Fling, some other options such as Toxic or even Taunt show up. And if you're not running Fling, you can still run acrobatics just to make Gliscor into a knockoff absorber, because knockoff's a popular move and you can use him to absorb knockoffs from the enemy team. Like, say you know they're going to use knockoff on your Pokemon. You don't want that Pokemon to lose its item. Just switch out to Gliscor. Gliscor will take the knockoff. He's a pretty monster tank, so he should be okay. And, you know, he loses his Toxic Orb, but hopefully you've already got him poisoned at that point. If not, you know, try avoid doing that before you've already got him toxic. But yeah, once you switch in, you'll have that boost from acrobatics if they knock off your Toxic Orb. So it's still an option if you want to run it, but of course, if you didn't go with knockoff up here, knockoff's definitely an option down here, because knockoff's a great move, and you know, if you have the ability to run it, go for it. Like, just go for it. It's a great move. There's no reason not to run it unless, you know, of course, you're not running it. I don't know where I was going with that. Knockoff, great move. Run it unless you don't want to run it. Then don't run it, because Gliscor's still got some other great options there. But, you know, knockoff's great. I just want to make that point, that knockoff's a great move. Alright, you got it? Good. So that, right there, that'll do it. for Gliscor, one point of interest that I should mention, if you're running Taunt, I definitely recommend getting some speed investment because, you know, you want to outspeed things when you're taunting. So, I mean, you don't have to run the speed investment for taunt to be useful, but it's so much more useful if you have that speed investment. So keep that in mind. And the more speed investment, the better with taunt, because it, you know, you can take more care of more general things. So, as far as that goes, that about ends it for more general defensive build Gliscor. So, now we're gonna go take a look at, well, honestly, yeah, okay, yeah, it's its own separate set in a way, but it's real similar to general defensive Gliscor. He just does one extra thing that you typically wouldn't see. So as far as item, Toxic Orb, Poison Heal, this generation for Gliscor, honestly, there's not really any other better options. I mean, the other options are available as far as his ability goes, but they're not as good. So, you know, that's the thing. So, here we go into, let's see, nature. This build is what I call Stealth Rocks Gliscor, and obviously you know what one of his moves are gonna be on his moveset. So, let's see. Impish Nature, and get that magic number of 244, max the defense, and 3 extra in special defense. On this set, I don't see a crazy amount of need for the speed, but the speed is an option, mainly because later on when we talk about the moveset, Taunt will be an option. So, as always, just kind of minus his defense and throw whatever you want in the speed. Remember, the magic numbers on the speed are either 200, 236, that's for Mamoswine, 200 is for just generally it outspeeds a lot of base 90 max speed threats is mainly what it is, but a whole lot of general threats there. And then 72 for Jolly Tyranitar, and then whatever you have left over is speed, or I mean defense. Yeah, don't put your leftover EVs you have from speed in your speed. That doesn't make sense. Defense. Put them in defense. I don't really see much of a need for a special variant of this set, but I suppose it's possible, honestly. I don't see anything wrong with it, and you would just switch that up, keeping in mind whatever speed you'd want would minus out of your special. And if you don't have any speed, throw it in defense. And I don't see anything really wrong with the special variant on this set. I've just never personally seen a special variant of this. Granted, I don't see a lot of special Gliscors in general, so that could be a reason. So, anyways, moveset, it's Stealth Rock Gliscor, so you're putting Stealth Rocks on them, and you know the drill. Stealth Rocks is great because it's Stealth Rocks and it does residual damage when they switch in, and it particularly hurts flying types, as well as fire types, as well as bug types, as well as fire flying types like Talonflame, or bug flyings like a lot of bug types. Beedrill. There you go. Actually, no. Beedrill's poison bug. My bad. Yeah, my bad. How could I do that to poor Beedrill? I don't know. But anyways, yeah. Let's see, I'm trying to think of a notable bug flying, but let's be honest, bug flying type combination sucks, so there's not a whole lot of those out there that are used competitively in at least OU. So yeah, Stealth Rocks, it's great. Residual damage. It's great. I mean, what more can I say? It's a great move. So, of course, since you don't have really the options here to go with Protect and Sub like our first set did, we're going with Roost. Roost is great because it's 50% of your HP back. So I mean, it's great. Like I mentioned, it can help take less damage from ice types, but you don't want to be taking damage from ice types in general, so keep that in mind. Roost is great here. Toxic is as well great here, and Earthquake is just a general great move for Gliscor. Couple things, I mentioned Taunt is an option, so what I recommend is going with Taunt here instead of Toxic, but if you want to play it real risky, I've seen sets that keep Toxic and get rid of Roost for Taunt, and, you know, that's a thing, but, you know, you're missing out on your recovery moves, so keep in mind, you know, it's not something that I particularly recommend, but I've definitely seen sets do it, so there must be something to it. I suppose this massive amount of bulk has something to do with it. So keep that in mind. And, you know, as far as that goes on the Stealth Rock set, that's really, it's really all your options. But now that I think about it, I would like to mention one last Gliscor set, and this would be, it'd be real similar as well, but this set particularly, well, let's first get that magic number 244, and you know, get your nature. On this set, I honestly feel like Impish or Careful could still be an option, so Impish or Careful, whatever. Careful, you want to max that, throw the extra, not highlight your screen, throw the extra defense. If not, you know, your speed's always an option, so, you know, get that 236 magic number in speed to outspeed Mamoswine. If not, get you 200, let you outspeed all kinds of notable base 90 speed attackers that maximize their speed. And if not, 72 deals with Jolly Tyranitar, and if you don't care about that even, then it, you know, looks like this. And of course, if you're going with Impish Nature, you could do the same thing, except max your defense and throw your extra in special defense, and the speed rule still applies. You just minus the special and minus the attack and get it in here. And I'm not going to go through all of this, but you know, it looks something like that if you wanted 236 and, you know, whatever for whatever. Just throw leftovers in defense after you're done with speed. That's about all there is to it. So anyways, moveset time. Well, first we'll go ahead and do Toxic Orb and Poison Heal. But this set, what it is it'd be a Tailwind set, and I just think it's notable to mention just because Gliscor can get Tailwind, and it provides him a bit more of a supportive role than a, his typical stall tank build. And I know there are variation within these, but they're all generally a stall tank build. So Tailwind gets a bit more support in there, and so Roost I think would still definitely be a main thing to want to run here, as well as Toxic and Earthquake, and even Earthquake could be turned into Knockoff if you want, and Toxic could even be turned into Taunt if you want, or I suppose you could not run Roost and run both Toxic and Taunt on the same set and make it look something like that. I still think having Roost there is it's not essential, I'd say, but it's definitely something that would help out a ton. So I'd keep in mind that not running Roost might hurt, but you still got all this bulk here, so that's a lot of bulk. Like, that's a lot of bulk. So after that, I suppose that honestly does it for Gliscor. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and if you want to recommend the next Pokemon I do, be sure to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see me do next. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later, and of course, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike, and if you want to get those notifications when my new videos are coming out, that's what the subscribe button's for. So, thanks for watching, and catch you later. Bye.